Imagine a world where a single airstrike shatters the iron grip of a decades-long ruler, igniting a war that engulfs the Middle East. What if the son of that slain leader steps into the void, not as a reformer, but as a hardliner forged in his father's shadow? Today, we unravel a mystery. Has Mojtaba Khamenei truly been elected Iran's new supreme leader amid raging conflict? Or is this just a prelude to chaos? We challenge the assumption that Iran's theocratic republic could never mimic the hereditary monarchies it once overthrew. Yet whispers from Tehran's corridors suggest a dynastic twist is unfolding right now. Hang on as we dive. Deep answers won't come easy, but they'll keep you hooked. To understand this seismic shift, we must rewind to Iran's turbulent past, where revolution birthed a system defying kings and empires. In 1979, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini led the Islamic Revolution, toppling Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi's monarchy. This wasn't just a regime change, it established Velayat-e Faqih, ruled by a supreme religious jurist. Blending faith and governance in unprecedented ways, key figures emerged. Khomeini is the first. Supreme leader wielding absolute power over military, judiciary, and policy. After his death in 1989, Ali Khamenei ascended, initially seen as a compromise but evolving into an unyielding autocrat. Teasing twists ahead, Mojtaba, Ali's son, lurked in the shadows, building alliances with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps' IRGC. Iran's elite force, the war systems at play, Iran's vast missile arsenal, proxy networks like Hezbollah and Houthis, and a nuclear program inching toward weapons-grade uranium. These aren't mere defenses, they're tools of asymmetric warfare, designed to deter superpowers like the US and Israel. But what if an external spark exposed hidden fissures? We're building to that patience. The Kazan effect chain starts now. Our story begins in the origins, post-1979 Iran, where ideological purity clashed with economic realities and global isolation. Khamenei's vision promised justice, but sanctions and the Iran-Iraq War 1980 to 1988 drained resources, planting seeds of discontent. Ali Khamenei's rise in 1989 seemed stabilizing, but his consolidation of power centralized authority, stifling dissent and fostering cronyism. Mojtaba Khamenei's ascent was subtle. Rooted in clerical education and calm, Iran's religious heartland. By the 2000s, he influenced his father's decisions, reportedly orchestrating the controversial 2009 election that re-elected Mahmoud Ahmadinejad amid protests. This rise wasn't public. Mojtaba operated behind scenes, forging ties with IRGC commanders. Amassing informal power without official titles, rumors swirled. Mojtaba controlled intelligence. Networks suppressed Green Movement uprisings and shaped foreign policy toward confrontation. His influence grew as Ali aged, health rumors mounting by the 2020s, but the true catalyst? Iran's nuclear ambitions, hidden facilities, and escalating tensions with the West setting the stage for disaster. Enter the breaking point. February 28, 2026. When the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, uncovered hidden highly enriched uranium in an underground Iranian site. This discovery, amid Iran's economic freefall and massive protests since late 2025, prompted swift action from Israel and the US, a joint airstrike targeted leadership compounds. Ali Khamenei was killed, his death confirmed days later. Plunging Iran into war, the strike wasn't isolated waves of attacks dismantled missile sites, IRGC bases, and nuclear facilities. Iran retaliated with drone swarms and proxy assaults on U.S. bases and Israeli cities, escalating to full conflict. Why this timing? Years of sanctions crippled Iran's economy. Inflation soared over 50%. Unemployment hit 20%. Fueling riots in over 100 cities. The fallout was immediate. Tehran streets split between mourners, hailing Ali as a martyr and celebrants dancing in defiance. An interim council formed per the Constitution, President Masoud Pezeshkian, Judiciary Chief Gholam Hossein Mohseni EJ, and Cleric Ali Reza Arafi, but power vacuum invited KSIRGC fractures. Proxy economy, and intensified airstrikes on Khamenei's assembly of experts building, amid bombs. The assembly convened in secret, electing Mojtaba Khamenei as supreme leader on March 3, 2026. Under IRGC pressure, this hereditary shift echoed the overthrown Shah's dynasty, drawing criticism even from hardliners, yet Mojtaba's ties to security forces secured his position. Promising continuity and defiance against enemies, failed fixes abounded, diplomatic overtures. From the interim council sought ceasefires, but U.S.-Israel demands for nuclear dismantlement fell flat. Iran's strategy of attrition spreading conflict via proxies aimed to raise oil prices and global costs. But strikes decimated launches, internal suppression intensified, yet protests persisted. With defections and unrest threatening regime cohesion, EU calls for credible transition. Signaled regime change hopes. But Mojtaba's election hardened lines, economic shocks rippled, oil prices spiked 30%. Global markets trembled, mirroring 1979's crisis. These efforts to stabilize failed as war dragged on, exposing the system's fragility without Ali's iron fist now. Connect us to modern parallels. Iran's hereditary turn mirrors North Korea's Kim dynasty. Where sons inherit amid isolation and threats, shocking data, Iran's rial collapsed 80% since 2025. Poverty engulfed 60% of citizens, echoing Venezuela's hyperinflation debacle. Repeating patterns, like Syria's Assad clinging via Russian aid, Iran leans on proxies, but external strikes accelerate internal unraveling. Consider Arab Spring echoes, Tunisia's 2011 spark from economic woes toppled dictators. Yet Iran's 2025 to 2026 protests, larger than 2009. Face deadlier repression, global energy shocks repeat 1973 oil crisis. With Iran's conflict potentially hiking prices to $150 a barrel, crippling economies. Hereditary theocracies, Saudi Arabia's princely shifts show stability risks, but Iran's clerical facade cracks under war's weight. 3 clear takeaways from the saga. First, autocratic power vacuums invite external interventions, as seen in Khamenei's assassination fueling broader war. Second, ideological regimes often revert to dynastic rule for survival, undermining their revolutionary ethos and breeding resentment. Third, asymmetric warfare buys time, but not victory. Iran's missiles and proxies delay, but superior tech from foes like Israel tips scales. A warning, if Mojtaba consolidates amid escalating strikes, nuclear thresholds may cross, drawing in superpowers and risking World War III. Or an open-ended thought, could this transition birth reform or deepen Iran's isolation for generations? What do you think will Mojtaba last or spark revolution? Subscribe for more deep dives on global flashpoints and comment below to join the discussion.